Hi again. I've had a special request for a video, and it sounded really good, so hey, I'm making it for dinner. It's beef and broccoli. You know, like really good beef and broccoli that you get at your Chinese restaurant. If you lived in a big town, which I do not. I prefer to make it. If you lived here, you'll understand. International fare is hard to come by in this neck of the woods. Anyway, FYI, if anybody wanted to open up a really good Chinese restaurant here locally, I mean, you'd have the market locked. You'd have a niche. Anyway, beef and broccoli, it's delicious, it's filling, everybody likes it, super easy to make. I like to serve it with coconut rice. I know that sounds weird, but it's delicious. Like, it's just kind of like it adds like a sweet and savory type element to it. It's really, really good. And the coconut rice is the one thing I'm not going to make in the Instant Pot. I'll make that on the stovetop. But I have a hack for it, and I think you busy folks will appreciate it. It's made with minute rice. Don't tell anybody. Anyway, this is super easy and filling, popular. Enjoy. I hope you like it. FYI, I cannot claim any rights or praise to this recipe because it is an actual recipe that I follow, and I will post the website with the recipe here so you can follow along too. But this is not my recipe, it's someone else's, and it's delicious, and I thank them for it. Okay, so we're gonna make beef and broccoli. Again, I'm following a recipe that will be posted, and that will show the specific amounts. But generally, the ingredients that you need is a sliced up chuck roast, which I got yesterday and sliced up when I got it. See, it's just thinly sliced, just like the beef and broccoli you get in the Chinese restaurant. I've got one chopped onion. I always keep onion in the freezer because maybe I'm a nerd, but I get a bag at a time and I chop them all up at once. And I individually portion them so that when I do recipes, I just pop it out of the freezer and throw it in. Onion's great that way. So this is onion. You need broccoli florets. You need garlic, sesame seeds, soy sauce, sesame oil, beef broth, and brown sugar. And that's all you need for beef and broccoli. So let's get this mamma jam started. Hey. Okay, the first thing we need to do is brown our meat. So I'm going to do that with the saute function. I'm just going to go ahead and do it on high. No big deal. The recipe calls for you to brown your beef first. I don't like to do that. I like to put in a couple of teaspoons of olive oil. And I like to do my onion first. That's just me. It calls for you to do the meat first, but I like to do my onion first. And I just dump it in there before it's preheated with my onion. Onion's probably the only thing I ever do that. Everything else I wait for it to preheat. The onion, I just dump it in there. No big deal. Anyway, I'm gonna let this soften up. I'm gonna brown up my beef. All right, so my pan is definitely hot. Got my onion translucent in there. I went ahead and added my garlic. Now, I'm going to add my meat, which you can do in batches if you want. I'm not going to do that this time. Don't you like how I fancily added my beef? All I'm doing is just getting it browned up. So no big deal. That's all. You can do it in batches if you like. And be all fancy and make it all pretty. But I'm not. But I do want to make sure it browns, so just going to make sure that works. And this pan is really, really hot, so it should not take long. Make sure every bit of this browns. So fancy, I know. Now, if you like your beef thinner, you can certainly cut it thinner. I just did what was easy. So I did thin slices against the grain on my chuck roast. And don't use a more expensive cut of meat. Seriously, a chuck roast is fine for this. This is how you stretch your dollar too, by the way. But you can make it as thin or as big as you want. You definitely don't want it. You definitely do not want it any thicker than that right there. Okay? You don't want it any thicker than that. But you can do it thinner if you like. Your preference. Alright, I'm satisfied with how brown my beef is. So I'm going to cancel my saute function. And I'm going to add in my little mixture I made, which is just the soy sauce, the brown sugar, the sesame oil, and that's it. You want to stir it real good to make sure that your brown sugar dissolves. This is also where you would add the red pepper flakes, which almost everybody should do, okay? The only reason that I am not adding these to my recipe is that I am actually allergic. And I don't really want to break out into hives or swell up. So I'm going to leave that out, but you don't want to do that, okay? So add your red pepper flakes to here. All right, so all I'm going to do now is take this mixture and, oh, by the way, it's got my beef broth in it, okay? This is all the liquid. And I'm just going to pour it right there. So easy. Okay, I want to make sure there's nothing on my sides of my pot. Just going to go around my pot, make sure. And I like to press my meat down into the mixture. No big deal. All right, so this is ready to go. Okay, most important thing right here is make sure you don't have any liquid or debris that's gotten around your pot, okay? So wipe your pot down on the edges. It's cool. When you reuse the saute function, this stays like really cool. Like it's not hurting me at all. Yeah, I know, I need a manicure. I need a lot of things. I have a 3-year-old. Anyway, so clean this off. Make sure your ring is properly seated on your lid, that the guard is in the groove. So I've already done that. So now all I do is I pop my little lid up here, and I am going to change this to my pressure cook setting, which is also known as manual. And I'm going to do it for, oops, I'm going to do it for 12 minutes on high. And then I'm just going to press start. The Ultra, the lid seals automatically when you put it on there. If you don't have the Ultra, you're going to make sure before you start all this business that when you put the lid on, you're going to make sure that your vent or that your valve is set to sealing. Or if you have a different brand pressure cooker, sometimes it says airtight. But you want to make sure your valve is set to airtight before you press start, okay? All right, so this is just going to take a few minutes. While this is going, I am going to steam my broccoli. The recipe calls for you to do it separately, like in water and a bowl and everything like that. Listen, if you want to dirty it one more dish, that's between you and whoever. I like the easy way out, so I get one of these steamable packs. And I just follow the instructions on the back, and I do it in the microwave. So pretty simple. And I always buy Pick Sweet. If you get the chance in your freezer section and you see Pick Sweet, please purchase them. You will support our local farmers. They all come from here, and we love Pick Sweet. Anyway, so I'm going to stick these in the microwave according to the instructions and let that cook real fast. And I'm going to go ahead and fix my coconut rice while this buddy's doing its thing. How easy is this? Like, I'm not even kidding you. This is ridiculous easy. So, this is coconut rice. It's my own recipe. I started doing it a while back. There's this restaurant in the Outer Banks that I love to go to called the Sunset Grill. It's up there around Duck. And they always serve coconut rice with their seafood dishes, and I eat a lot of fish. So I started trying to figure out how to make this at home. And you're going to laugh, but it works the best with minute rice. Like, legit, minute rice works the best with it. Which not only tastes fantastic, but I mean, how easy is that? Anyway, what you do is you take your coconut milk, whatever brand you got, doesn't matter. I always shake it up really good before I do this. Okay? A minute rice is equal parts, so I'm going to do 2 cups of rice, so I want 2 cups of liquid. Okay? I'm just a little bit shy. I don't know if you can see this. I'm a little bit shy of 2 cups, so what I'm going to do to make up the difference for that is add some water. Okay, I've got 2 cups of liquid here. No big deal. I'm going to stick it in my pot here. Don't judge my pot, I've dropped it a few times. Anyway, I'm gonna let this come to a boil. And when it comes to a boil, I'll do the next part. All right, my pot just came to pressure. It took about 5 minutes. There's not much liquid in there, okay? The less liquid, the less volume you have, the quicker it's gonna come to pressure. But this is why I love my Ultra. It's telling me it's cooking. I love that bell curve. Anyway, this got 12 minutes, and I'm just waiting for my rice to do its thing. Okay, my coconut milk is getting ready to boil. It boils a lot faster than water. And you want to use coconut milk, okay? You don't want to use like creme de coconut or whatever that stuff is. Coca de leche, I don't know what you call it. You don't want to use that. But there's my coconut milk. It's starting to boil. At this point, you want to add in a generous tablespoon of sugar, because you don't want it to boil over. It will boil over quickly, because this has absolutely no sugar in it. Coconut milk has no sugar in it, so you need to add that generous tablespoon of sugar, or else it's going to be just not good. You need a little sweetness in this, okay? So dump your 2 cups of minute rice in there. It's equal portions, okay? You want to stir that around, and you want to bring it back to a boil. It will not take long, okay? But just bring that back to a boil. Oh my gosh, I wish you could smell this. It smells so coconutty and so good. I went through a lot of variations of trying to make this rice before I came up with this idea. I'm telling you, minute rice, it's the way to go. All right, see it's come back to a boil? At this point, you're gonna wanna put your lid on it. I gotta really try, because I've dropped this pot several times. Put your lid on it, turn it off, and set it. Now, they say it takes like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. Just let it do its thing while you wait for your pot to finish. All right, at this point, my pot's still going. My rice is done. Hello. My broccoli is finished. I am going to use this opportunity to toast me some sesame seeds. This is completely optional whether or not you want to do it. I like it. I think it adds a little something, but you definitely want to toast it. So I just take a dry pan and I stick it on there on like medium-low heat, and I just toast me up some sesame seeds. Like, again, like how easy is this? But don't let it go long, because these things will burn on you fast before you even realize it. I don't know how many you're supposed to have. I don't know if the recipe calls for an amount. I just do a hefty little bit that I'm going to sprinkle on top. No big deal. I don't even know how much that is. But seriously, keep an eye on this, because it will burn fast. You just want to toast them lightly. My pot has 4 minutes left. My rice is done. My broccoli's been steamed in the microwave. I've toasted my sesames for garnish. I've made me a little cornstarch slurry that I'm going to use in just a second. By the way, if you're going to make a slurry, I always find that if you use cold water, I use the one out of my fridge, but cold water seems to work better for slurries. Just a little tip. Anyway, everything's done. I still have 4 minutes. I guess I'm going to wash my couple of pots that I had. You know, I'll clean up my mess. Oh, such a taxing dinner. All right, my timer just beeped, and in that 4 minutes, I cleaned up my kitchen. So taxing. All right, so you're going to want to cancel this, and you're going to want to quick release it. I use my snorkel because I don't like stuff getting on my cabinets. But see how the pin is up? We're going to quick release it. Shouldn't take too long. Makes your whole house smell like beef and broccoli, by the way. Sesame seed oil is the thing that makes it so pungent and also delicious. So yeah. So this will take just a minute. It appears to be done. I don't know who came up with this hack, but whoever they are, thank you so much. You saved my cabinets in like less than $2 at Lowe's. You cannot beat that hack. I'm not smart enough to think of something that simple. Anyway, you'll notice my pen is still up. That happens a lot. And there's no steam coming out. It's done. So I just kind of mess with this button until it drops. Usually doesn't take much. Weird. Oh, look how I just lightly touched it. See? Nothing blew up, right? Okay, it's time to open the pot. Oh! Looks good. Smells delicious. I like to take my lid while it's still warm and I put it in the sink because I like to wash my lid while it's warm. But I'll do that in just a second. In the meantime, look at my beef and broccoli. So good looking. I mean, obviously there's no broccoli in it yet, but there will be. Okay, it's really liquidy. It needs to be syrupy. So we need to thicken this. And the way we do that is we turn on our saute function. The one we used a little while ago. And I just put it to high. It works faster. And listen, you can, your little slurry that you had waiting for you, you can probably go ahead and add it in right away because this liquid is already so hot from the pressure cooking, it will not take long to boil, and that's all you really want is you just want it to boil. I usually push my meat off to one side, and I add in my slurry. And then I'm just gonna stir it in, and I'm gonna let this come to a boil. It won't take long. All right, my liquid has turned into quite a good little syrup. Didn't take long, like I said, just a couple of minutes. And at this point, I'm gonna add in my steamed broccoli. Let it meld together and do its thing. Does that look like beef and broccoli to you yet? Oh my gosh. It's ridiculous how good this smells. Your whole house is going to smell this, by the way. In like 2 days, you'll be sick to death of the smell. I promise. But right now, it smells divine. So I'll let this sit here for just a minute while I get my plates and stuff together. But I'm going to go ahead and cancel the saute function. I'm just going to let it sit in the warm for a second. Alright, your rice has just been hanging out while you've been getting all your other stuff together. All you do is open the lid and you just fluff it with a fork. Now it's a little wetter than your traditional minute rice, but it's still very flaky. Oh my gosh, I just cannot even begin to tell you how good this is. This is like one of my favorite side dishes of any kind. But it is very coconutty, so if you have someone that doesn't like coconut, you don't want to do it. But it is absolutely delicious. Though if you have someone that doesn't like coconut because of the texture of coconut, this is a great thing to try on them because there's absolutely no like flakes of coconut or anything in it. It's just made with the milk. Oh, it's so good. All right, I plated up my coconut rice. I put some of my beef and broccoli over top of it, garnished with a little bit of my toasted sesame seeds. Let's try this bad boy out. Oh my gosh, like, that's ridiculous. This is better than the Chinese restaurant. It's like a pot roast. It just falls apart. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's so good. And the coconut rice adds that little bit of sweetness to it. It's sweet and savory. And again, you would want the red pepper flakes in it to add a little heat to it. I unfortunately cannot have that. But man, a little spice to this would be good. That's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. And it's 5:13. We eat dinner really early because I have a 3-year-old. But I mean, seriously, like, that's ridiculous. You could easily make this coming home from work one night on the fly. So good. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I am.